Hello, ladies and gentlemen. TS Pro Wrestling here. It is the first video of 2022 for the TS Wrestling channel. Today, we're going to do our top 10 Royal Rumble surprise entrants. If you know me very well, you would have known that the Royal Rumble is my favourite event of the year. My favourite pay-per-view, whatever they call it now. Premier live event? I don't know. They call pay-per-views nowadays. But yes, it's my favourite event of the whole year. Royal Rumbles has always been the most exciting part of the year for professional wrestling. It's that time again. So I'm going to give all of you my top 10 surprise entrants that I think could enter the 2022 men's and women's Royal Rumble. So let's get that started. Alright, starting off by number 10. Basically, this is going to start off for me, to start with the unlikeliest to the most likeliest. But let's get started. At number 10, I'm going to say The Fiend Bray Wyatt. I know. Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, been released months ago. Terrible decision. But we can all agree on that. We've been talking about that for months and months. We all know how bad that release was. Probably the worst release in WWE history besides like Drew McIntyre back in 2014 or I don't know, John Moxley. But John Moxley wanted to leave, so that doesn't count. But we had a lot of bad ones. And that's definitely the worst one. The reason why I said The Fiend Bray Wyatt is because for the past few weeks, if you paid attention, especially on SmackDown, there's been a very, very weird stuff in the backgrounds of all of these segments. We have to the beard, to the woman, to the man, to the robot, all those things. And it's making me think that maybe it's something to do with Bray Wyatt. We don't know. We really don't know. But The Fiend belongs in WWE. Even though he's been buried countless times, even though he's a creative man, AEW could give him that freedom. He's just going to be more successful in WWE because WWE is the reason why WWE had the merch selling crazy a few years ago because of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is a cow machine for the WWE. So it'll be a bad decision to not re-sign Bray Wyatt, and this is your chance. And The Fiend, we haven't seen him since he lost at WrestleMania to Randy Orton and had that Funhouse episode we was talking about. The Fiend will return. And maybe he's not lying. Maybe he will return and he knew he was going to get released, but he could come back now at the Royal Rumble this Saturday. But besides that, there's a big chance we're going to see The Fiend Bray Wyatt return. If he does, big pop. But anyways, that's where you least expect, so let's move on. Next, at number 9, I'm going to go with Impact Wrestling, Moose. Yes, Moose from Impact Wrestling. And the reason why I put him on the list is because there's a few reasons. Number 1, Impact and WWE are apparently doing a partnership. Finally, this is huge. Because years ago, they used to be big rivals, but nowadays, we don't treat them as rivals. Because, Impact isn't as good as it used to be. I don't even watch Impact. But all I know is that Moose is pretty much the top guy there. And on Twitter, he's been talking about facing Roman Reigns. So could we see Moose be at the Royal Rumble? We will wait and see. But there's a big chance Moose will be at the Royal Rumble. Alright, number 8. At number 8, I believe we're going to see the return of Elias. Yes, walk with Elias at the Royal Rumble. A few months back, Elias has been getting a lot of vignettes, but then he suddenly just disappeared. And we've been all wondering why he has been gone, what has been going on. We've been waiting patiently. But then we got news that they had plans for his new gimmick, but then scrapped it because he looked more like Macho Man Randy Savage than anything else. So instead, they scrapped it and didn't use him. But now I feel like at the Rumble is the perfect time to bring back Elias. Personally, I'm sure you do. I miss Elias. I'm sure you do as well. Good heel, in my opinion. Underrated, definitely. Very underrated by the fans. Elias is great. He has great heel heat as well. Even though some typical heel heat, he's good at his job. It's different as a musician. It's different. I'm not sure if Elias will come back with a new gimmick or not. Because, his previous gimmick that he was meant to be doing got scrapped. They might keep his new gimmick just with trimmed hair or something. But I can see Elias returning in the 2022 Royal Rumble. So in that case, let's move on. Alright, number 7. Let's go to the women now. I believe who will return in the Women's Royal Rumble will be the baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey. There's been a bunch of reports about Ronda Rousey coming back to WWE, that WWE want her to be in the Rumble, pushing her to be in the Royal Rumble. I can't believe it. But the reason why it's very low is because knowing Ronda, she's probably going to say no. Because if you think about it, she just had a child a few months ago, and she probably would spend more time with that child. And maybe come back in 2023 or 2024. But that'll be interesting. See Ronda back and probably win the Royal Rumble and face Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. That'll be interesting. Having heel Becky versus a face Ronda Rousey will be very interesting. Because a few years ago, Becky was the face, Ronda was the top heel. But then now it's reversed. This is like if Brock's a face or Roman's a heel, and like it's reversed some years ago. So this is interesting, and I'm going with Ronda Rousey at number 7. Alright, number 6. Over to the women. I know. This is random, I know, but I don't know why, but I have a small feeling that we're going to see Kairi Sane. Yes, I know. Sounds insane. Like, Joe, why would you think that? I just have that feeling. I don't know why. Just that Kairi Sane hasn't been wrestling for a very long time. Not wrestling any companies. And maybe WWE is like, Kairi Sane, you might as well return in the Rumble so we can see you again. That's probably going to be the case. We might see Kairi Sane back in the Royal Rumble, back to WWE. You never know. You never know. Hell, anybody could come back, and Kairi Sane will be a pretty nice one to see. So let's move on to our top 5. Alright, to our final 5 now. If we talk about Kairi Sane coming back, let's talk about the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. Yes, Asuka will be coming back in the 2021 Royal Rumble. What do I gotta say? She's been off for so long, going through an injury, apparently an arm injury, but we don't know what that injury actually was. Asuka, the last time we saw her, she has a bad, top star ability there. But she has been Roman's champion before. Twice, actually. If that counts, yeah, twice. I think it's about time we see Asuka back in the 2022 Royal Rumble. And she'll finally come back. And maybe reunite with Kairi Sane in the Royal Rumble. So anyways, let's move on. Alright, next. This is another random pick, but it makes sense. I'm going to say Shane McMahon. That's right, here comes the money. It's really no reason except that Shane McMahon is Vince McMahon's son. So I'm going to say Shane is going to come back in the Rumble. And hopefully, put on a hell of a performance. Let's move on. Alright, number 3. Who's very likely to be in the Royal Rumble. At number 3, I'm going to say The role model, Bayley, will be coming back. Bayley has been injured because she's been training for Money in the Bank against Bianca Belair in like about June, July. I think about July time. She was meant to face Bianca Belair for the SmackDown Women's title, but then Bayley got injured and kept their sidelined on the shelf for months. But I hear Bayley's doing well, and I hear there's a big possibility she's going to be in the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to believe that theory that Bayley will be in the Women's Royal Rumble match and probably win it. Let's all admit, come on now, Bayley has been killing it in the Thunderdome era, carrying the Thunderdome era for the pandemic, and has been putting some enjoyment for the women's division, especially Sasha Banks. What else I gotta say? Bayley, absolutely pillar of the women's division. That's why I can't wait to see Bayley return in the 2022 Royal Rumble. And let's move on to our final two. Alright, time for our final two predictions for the Royal Rumble entrance. Number 2. This is going to be a shocking one that will blow our minds. I predict in the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble match, we're going to see the return of... That's right. We're going to see the return of Paige. Yes, I believe we're going to see the return of Paige now. Paige has been willing to come back in the WWE for a very long time. She wants to come back as a GM, possible. But I believe, right, she's been cleared to wrestle and keeping it in for a while. And it's a wild prediction. But I have a feeling we're going to see Paige come back in the Royal Rumble. Paige, big fan of Paige, one of my favourite women's wrestlers of all time. Paige's main reason is because she's from the UK. I'm from the UK, so we have to support our British superstars. And Paige is great overall, great debut when she first came, sad retirement. She's just too young to retire. Like, come on, she's in her prime. She's still in her prime. So she should return and have a longer reign in the WWE before retiring again. But this time, retire on her own terms, like what Edge did. Edge, probably the greatest return of all time. But it's time to see if Paige can become best women's return of all time. But in that case, for me, number 2, I'm going with Paige. Let's move on to our number 1 spot. Alright, it's time for our number 1 spot. Who will I believe will enter the 2022 Royal Rumble? I have to be realistic, but also shocking at the same time. My number 1, who I predict to enter the 2022 Men's Royal Rumble match, is gonna be... That's right! At number 1, I'm going with Y2J! Lobo the Bubbly, the first ever AEW World Champion, Chris Jericho. And you might be wondering, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? Why would you choose Chris Jericho? He's part of AEW. Here's the thing. Mickie James entered the Women's Royal Rumble, but she's a legend. She's an Impact Wrestler, she's a Knockout Champion, but she is a WWE legend. WWE need legends to, bring some nostalgia or just surprise, older WWE fans that don't watch it anymore. And Chris Jericho is almost the perfect guy. Chris Jericho is a legend. He's most memorable for his runs in WWE, of course. Like, it's Chris Jericho. Jericho is the perfect guy to return at the Royal Rumble. The most realistic out of all. Like, there's plenty of more who could enter. Guys like John Cena, even there. Or Kenny Omega or John Moxley. Anybody. even Big Cass or W. Morrissey, whoever his name is now. Anybody. But I have to say Chris Jericho, because he's the most realistic and kind of shocking and also very realistic. And that's my top 10. So hope all you guys liked, comment, and subscribe. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Have a great day, guys, and hopefully the 2022 Royal Rumble will be as great as we want it to be. See you then. See you later in the next video.